All right, before we kick things off, we're going to do a brief trigger warning. So if you have any experience with drug addiction, domestic abuse, and suicide, this is your trigger warning. This might not be the episode for you. We take this very seriously.
We'll see you on the next episode.
We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, guys.
How awful.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the How Awful podcast.
How awful is awful. It's awful.
Beautiful. I'm Tanya Lee.
And I'm B.
And we are your hosts for the evening. And
our hostess with the mostest.
We are the hosts forever.
Oh, it's true.
So bear with us. B, did you know we're officially international?
Are we?
We are.
Are we? I know we've got listeners in Egypt.
We have listeners in Egypt. We have listeners in France. We have listeners in the UK. Australia. Oui, je parle français.
Oh, look at her fancy.
The only other language I know is French. So,
fun fact, it was her first language.
Yes, kind of. I learned English and French at the same time. So technically I had two.
She went mute.
Yeah, I did go mute for a little while. I didn't know what language I was supposed to speak. So I just decided, you know what? I'm not speaking one bit.
And she has since made up for all of that muteness in spades.
Why do you think we have a podcast? Great excuse to talk. But anyway, since I only know French, well, and English, obviously, but the only other language I know is French. I'll do a little French shout out to our French and French Canadian listeners.
Go ahead and show off.
I'm a French Canadian, so my French is very French Canadian, and I'm sorry in advance. But salut, bienvenue. Et...
Wow. Salut.
Salut, bienvenue.
Bienvenue. Bueno.
J'espère que nos histoires sont assez épeurantes et j'espère qu'on est assez amusant aussi. Merci d'avoir écouté.
Oui, oui.
Do you know what I said?
You said that we are amused something. I wasn't really listening.
Guess you'll have to use Google Translate and find out.
I wasn't really listening.
Unless you're French. Tu comprends si tu es français.
I mean, I understand French. Je comprends.
Anyway.
I just wasn't listening.
Oh my God, I heard the funniest story today that I have to repeat on the podcast. Shout out to my friend Megan who told me this really funny story. Her son is in his first year of kindergarten, which of course is being held via Zoom because children are not permitted to go to school,
Zoom,
at least in Los
Zoom,
Angeles.
Zoom, make my heart go boom, boom.
And the parents are gathering to send a birthday card to the teacher. So they're collecting cards and
that's nice.
The teacher was like, how was your weekend? And one kid in the Zoom class was like, I dropped off a card for you.
That was a secret? That was a surprise?
Yes, it was a surprise.
Good job, kid.
He's like, I dropped off a card for you at my friend's house, or I don't know whose house. Maybe it was Nolan's.
Every party.
Nolan is my friend Megan's son. And then some kid raised his hand and he goes, my mom hates kids.
Oh. Okay.
I laughed all day.
Am I that kid's mom?
I literally said to Megan, I said, that's B when she has a kid. Nolan, who is Megan's child, is also a child that B really, really likes.
Yeah, so he's allowed to stay.
Yes.
He's an exception to the kids are awful rule.
He's perfect and we love him.
Yes, he is.
Thank you, Megan, for giving birth to a perfect child.
Seriously. He is the future. It all rests on Nolan's shoulders.
Oh,
you got this, little man.
Who would have thought we would have covered Nolan on the story?
Nolan.
On the podcast.
Nolan's pretty wonderful. Maybe we'll have him on the podcast and he can tell us all the story.
God, please. Megan and Tom, will you permit your son to be on our podcast, please?
Now we're just talking about people that the listeners don't even know because we have quite a few already.
Yes.
More listeners than I was expecting this soon.
Same. And to those listeners, thank you for joining us. And hopefully we aren't too annoying and we're pretty fun to listen to.
We're pretty annoying.
We're definitely annoying.
But hey, sometimes that's people's cup of tea.
Yeah, and if you are listening to us and you haven't hit that little subscribe button, please make sure you do because you will then be automatically
downloading future episodes, which helps us out immensely.
It helps us out and it helps you out to listen to us.
Sure.
Yes. And if you like what you hear, please review us on whichever podcast platform you are listening to us on. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. We are kicking things off and trying to, get this thing going. We really love doing this, and we'd like to keep doing it.
So far, we have 5-star reviews. Thanks, moms.
Yeah, we have like 12 5-star reviews.
Oh.
So it's not just
moms.
We have
friends.
more than, we only have 2 moms. So
that's true.
And some of them aren't friends. I've seen some.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Whoever did that, shout out to you.
Izzy, back up. Izzy, back up. You're in my personal space. Remember, we talked to HR about this, and they said you need
5 minutes in, HR issue.
6 feet apart.
Coronavirus.
I really have been chomping at the bit to hear your alien story.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
So should we jump in and... I asked her before we started recording this today, I said, am I going to be mad at you when you start telling your story?
And the answer is not no.
she said, and I quote, I don't know, probably. So,
when you force somebody who has no interest in aliens to do an alien story, what do? They find loopholes. Here we go. Are you ready?
I don't want it. I don't want you to do a loophole.
I told you it has to do with aliens.
I want to hear alien stories.
You are going to hear an alien story.
Okay, I'm pretty mad at you.
But are you?
I better like this story.
Are you ready?
Otherwise, I'm firing you.
Are you ready for me to take you on a journey?
Yes, I am. I guess I'm prepared.
An alien journey. Come along while I weave you a tale, guys.
We had to pause to take a sip of our wine.
It's very important.
I hope you're drinking with us, by the way. Tonight we were drinking a little Sauvignon Blanc called Dark Horse.
It's cheap. It's a cheap bottle. It's a $10 bottle.
Anyway,
that's cheapo.
That's not an ad. We don't have ads.
We don't have those. But Dark Horse wine, if you want. Or Wink Wine, who we are proud subscribers. Okay, I'm going to stop. Anyway.
We are subscribers to Wink. We don't have an ad. We don't have sponsors yet.
Sponsorship.
This is not an ad. We actually genuinely love Wink.
We do.
Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Taking on a journey, telling a tale. Former Episcopal priest Graham lives on a remote farm with his asthmatic preteen son and younger daughter. Graham's younger brother Merrill, a failed minor league baseball player, has been living on the farm to help out since Graham's wife Colleen died in a traffic accident 6 months earlier.
Question.
Yeah.
Is Graham like Pink? He only has one name?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Is this made up?
No.
Okay.
Graham has since lost his religious faith and abandoned his church.
Sad for him.
Large crop circles appear in the Hess's cornfield. Sorry, Graham Hess. His name is Graham Hess.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. He's not like Pink.
No. Okay. In the Hess's cornfield that are initially attributed to vandals. Soon after, other crop circles, eventually determined to be navigational guides, appear globally, and lights from invisible objects hover over Mexico and other cities later on. One night, Graham and Merrill chase a tall, dark figure that disappears into the field. Graham later glimpses another one among the corn stalks, and strange clicking noises are heard over Bo's old baby monitor.
Can you do an example of the clicking noises?
I don't know.
That was actually I'm pretty impressed that you just thought of that off the top of your head. Is that from Signs?
Yes, I'm literally reading you the synopsis of Signs. It's not my story. I just wanted to troll you. I'm happy you got it. I honestly thought I was going to get through the whole synopsis before you realized it was Signs.
You literally told me you were going to do this, and I am mad at you.
That is the best part. I did tell you.
This is a
that
crying
I was
shame.
Just going to read the synopsis of Signs.
You're gonna have to actually do an alien story.
This was just a joke. I have a story.
Oh. It's a bad joke. I actually was upset.
No, I have like a 3-page story. I'm going to take you on an actual journey.
Oh, dear. Okay, continue. I'm sorry. I interrupted you with my anger.
Okay. So
Graham?
Today...
Are we still telling the Signs
story?
No,
I'm not going to tell the Signs story. Everyone knows it. I was just trolling you. Jesus.
I'm really bad at you guys. I was the kid that if you told me that you wrote Gullible on the ceiling, I would have actually looked up at the ceiling and said, where?
Fun story that Tanya hates when I tell.
No. Oh, no, I know what you're going to say, but you could say it. You guys can laugh at me.
She was once in the car with me and my ex-boyfriend, and she said something that was painfully obvious, and my ex-boyfriend went, okay, Captain Obvious. Minutes, not seconds, minutes went by of silence before Tanya chimed in from the back seat with, who's Captain Obvious? very seriously because she had no idea. She thought Captain Obvious, I don't know, was some faraway superhero.
I did.
I really don't know.
Guys, I'm Canadian. I don't know.
I also call her 10-second Tanya for a reason. It takes her at least 10 seconds to get a joke.
You guys will hear this on the podcast, by the way.
I will call her 10-second Tanya, I'm sure.
There will be 10 seconds that go by, and I will bring a joke back because I will have just gotten it just realized it happened.
You ready for the actual story?
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not mad. You know what? Hey, look me in the eyes.
Yes.
I love you and I forgive you.
Okay, I'm really happy. I was going to lose sleep over it.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. I have not read through this, and it's a lot of copy and pasting, so sorry if this messes up. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Heaven's Gate, one of the most notorious cults of the 20th century. What does this have to do with aliens, B? Well, I'll tell you.
Oh.
They were obsessed with UFOs.
I like this already.
Yes. Come with me while I tell you about the World Wide Web, tracksuits, Nikes, and UFOs.
I like that this is a combo story.
Right,
I'm
Steve?
really proud of you.
Thank you.
Look me in the eyes. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, continue.
Okay. In the early 1970s, founders Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles, a Texas music teacher and nurse that he met during a stay in a psychiatric institution, good meet cute, renamed themselves Bo and Peep and took a 6-month-long road trip across the United States.
I get it, Bo Peep.
Yep. Around 1974, they assembled a group called The Crew. Very inventive. For the next 2 decades, they lived all around Southern California. Why is it always in California? Though Nettles died in 1985, Applewhite kept the group together. And when the internet was introduced to consumers in the early 1990s, they began using the new technology to share their beliefs with a wider audience. The reclusive group also used it to make a living, deriving a large portion of their income from designing web pages. The cult's philosophy took its roots from Applewhite's Presbyterian upbringing. His father was a minister, and essentially grafted belief in extraterrestrials onto Christian theology.
PK.
Yeah. Applewhite told his acolytes that he was the second coming of Jesus Christ, that God was an alien,
Maybe.
and that they were living in the end times.
Oh, maybe not.
They read the Bible, especially Revelation chapter 11 in the New Testament, a section about 2 witnesses that would prophesy. At the end of their prophecy, they would have a battle. They would have to battle demons, which Applewhite and Nettles called the Luciferians.
Like Lucifer.
Yeah, you got it.
That didn't take me 10 seconds.
No, it didn't. Maybe because you went to Catholic school and had to take religion class.
I did.
Yeah.
I went to a Catholic school.
She did. Anyway.
Good info.
Applewhite and Nettles were huge fans, speaking of cults, Applewhite and Nettles were huge fans of Star Wars and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and they brought some sci-fi to the group, resulting in theories like Mary had been taken aboard a spaceship and impregnated with Jesus.
Wowie.
Yeah.
Okay.
The group also believes that God was an advanced alien traveling in the spaceship in the trail of the Hale-Bopp comet.
Hail Bop.
Yes.
Can we make a song called Hail Bop?
Yes.
Hail Bop. Hail Bop.
I'm the singer. Look at me.
No, I don't want to. Looking away.
I'm the singer.
You know what my friend Megan...
I'm the singer.
You know what my friend Megan told me today?
What?
She said, I wasn't surprised to hear you singing on the podcast because you sing at me all day at work.
Was she confusing my singing for
No,
your singing?
definitely not. So just so everybody knows,
Tanya's not the singer.
I sing too, y'all.
No. Anyway, God was going to appear in the trail of the Hale-Bopp comet and that he planned to soon recycle the Earth. In September 1975, the group visited the small town of Waldport, Oregon, to give a lecture about how UFOs were soon going to make contact with the human race. According to an article in the New York Times, roughly 150 people packed into a motel hall to hear Applewhite's lecture. At first, the town thought it was a joke, but...
Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was really thirsty.
Yeah, But soon, 20 people, or about 1 in 30 residents of the town, packed up, told their loved ones goodbye, and drove off.
Oh, gosh.
A score of persons have disappeared. A score of persons have disappeared, Walter Cronkite said.
Is that your news meme?
That's
news
my
meme?
Walter Cronkite
Oh, I
voice.
love it.
Said
Can you do
on-
it again?
No. Said on the CBS Evening News, it's a mystery whether they've been taken on a so-called trip to eternity or simply been taken.
Taken where?
Taken.
Where are they going?
taken.
I'm not going.
You're not going.
Okay, good. Just checking.
No. They had gone to a meeting of about 400 people in Grand Junction, Colorado, who believed they would be visited by alien beings. The rendezvous never happened. Shocker. Members told LA Weekly in 1994 that they hoped to be beamed up into space, taking their bodies with them into the next level, as members called their version of the afterlife. In the mid-1980s, when Nettles died of cancer, Applewhite amended his teachings to say that they would be given a new body in the next level, so their bodies wouldn't necessarily go with them. The group acknowledged that death might be necessary if they were to be picked up by the alien spacecraft, but appears to have held out hope that they could do so without dying. Do you know anything about Heaven's Gate before I continue?
I don't. This is the first I'm learning.
Okay.
That's why I gave you big eyes when you started.
Oh boy, okay.
I forget people can't see me on the podcast,
yes,
and I have to explain, I am giving big eyes.
Yes, you do. You do.
I already have big eyes, so.
You do. Anyway, the next level was a place without gender. Which led to castration.
Oh, don't like that. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, non-binary, I'm into this.
Applewhite and
this is worse.
Oh, it gets bad.
Okay.
Applewhite and other members underwent the procedure to help ensure they remained celibate. Applewhite, who had been fired as a music professor at the University of St. Thomas in 1970 after administrators learned he had sex with a male student, sought cures for his homosexual urges.
Naturally.
Yeah. He wanted to find a way to have platonic relationship where he could develop his full potential without sexual entanglements.
By the way, we love the LGBTQ plus community.
Oh, big time.
So when I say
big
things like
big time,
obviously I am joking, and I need to clarify this because my sarcasm might not be read on audio, but big time supporters. Big.
It has not skipped a generation of my family.
No. I just needed to say that because I might make little remarks that sound like I'm snarky, but I'm actually just being sarcastic.
But we have also said things like, can't trust the straights. We have been plagued with heterosexuality.
Did you just come out?
I just came out as a heterosexual, and it's a really trying time for me. And I'm not making fun of people who come out. Honestly, it's horrible that I'm here today.
Because men?
Because men.
Sorry, guys.
That's my only option? Are you kidding?
Because
I couldn't even be like a little curious. Like, come on.
Girls are way cooler.
Yeah. At least we have hairstyles. Anyway.
So he got fired
yeah.
Yes,
and
for being with
he wanted to have relationships without sexual entanglement, said one reporter who infiltrated the group in 1975. So naturally, castration.
Oh.
Castration, Applewhite believed, could make that easier. Ultimately, the group instituted a strict no sex, no human-level relationships, no socializing rule. So basically, what we're living in now...
Don't talk to your friends.
I believe this is also the rules and moral code that Mike Pence lives by, that Mother allows. Anyway... Though decisions like this were always left up to the members, 8 followers, so at least they gave them free right. They didn't force this on them. But 8 followers were castrated voluntarily, including Applewhite. They couldn't stop smiling and giggling, former member D'Angelo told Newsweek. They were excited about it.
Why?
Excited.
Why?
Cut off my dick. They were excited.
Okay, well, when you find your friends.
I just said dick, and our moms are going to hear this.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, I just said it twice. Oh, gosh. Okay.
I almost said it a third time, but I didn't. Dick.
Tanya. Anyway, though Heaven's Gate members were cut off from their families and friends, they were far from total recluses. Their final meal together was a big group dinner that took place at the Marie Callender's that they frequented.
Oh, yeah.
Near their compound in Rancho Santa Fe, California. It's going down in Marie Callender's.
How about them pies? If you don't know what Marie Callender's is, they have bomb-ass pies, apparently. I've never been, but I've heard.
I haven't either, but I've heard also.
We need to go get a pie there. What are we doing with our lives?
We do. We need to go get some French satin pie, it's called.
Pronto.
It's called French silk in Illinois.
It is.
It's French satin.
At Marie Callender's?
Or chocolate satin.
No, I've seen it as French silk.
It's not silk, it's satin.
It's the wrong fabric.
It's the wrong fabric.
That's a fabric. Right?
Yes.
You're the fashion lady. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fabric.
Okay, good.
Okay. They all ordered the exact same thing, a waiter recalled to the paper. It was set up before they came in. They all had iced teas to drink, dinner salads beforehand with tomato vinegar dressing, turkey pot pie for the entree, cheesecake with blueberries on top for dessert. They seemed very nice, very friendly, very polite. No one seemed depressed at all or anything like that. That was a quote from the waiter.
I'm hungry.
Okay, we just ate. Literally just ate. In March of 1997, 39 members, including Applewhite, wearing black track pants and sneakers, ate applesauce laced with barbiturates and washed it down with vodka. They then put bags over their heads, purple shrouds over their bodies, and lay down to leave their earthly vehicles behind. They weren't killing themselves, they thought, but freeing their souls from their vessels so that they could ascend to a spacecraft flying in the wake of the Hale-Bopp comet, which at that point was passing by Earth, and were going to be taken to their new home in space.
Hale-Bopp. Hale-Bopp. Remember when I couldn't say barbiturates?
Yes, and I just said it again.
You did. You said it so well. I'm so impressed.
You want to know what happened instead?
Yes. You're going to tell me.
I am. Instead, police found their bodies on March 26th.
Wait, what?
And the images of the white and black Nikes poking out from under a purple cloth would be burned into the eyes of a generation. Yeah, 39 people died.
Oh, this took a turn.
Yes. The suicides took place over the course of 3 days. Applewhite was a late death, but not the last to die.
Oh.
Labeled The Routine, the document outlined a process by which a group of 15 people would kill themselves, assisted by 8 other people. Then a second group of 15 would die, also assisted by 8 people. Given that 39 victims were found, that would have left a final group of 9.
Were they there?
No, they were dead. They killed themselves last.
Oh. They
Yes.
helped other people, and then they were like,
And
I'll
then-
just take care of myself.
And then they also wanted to hop on Hale-Bopp, so they, shucked on their Nikes, threw on their purple shroud, and ate some applesauce.
Do you know if they ascended?
Not confirmed.
Okay.
The members that would eventually kill themselves wore patches that said Heaven's Gate Away Team, which you can see in the group's farewell video. There's a farewell video, a reference to the specialized crew that went on missions to alien planets in Star Trek. They're Trekkies.
Have you seen the farewell video?
I haven't. I don't watch that stuff. That's creepy.
Do you know
That's
if it
too far.
exists?
It does exist.
On the internet?
I don't know if it's on the internet, but I know for a fact that they play it at the Museum of Death in Hollywood,
Well, that's
which
a
I
place
have been.
I want to go.
They also have the bunk beds that the Heaven's Gate members died in. Currently, they have mannequins wearing Nikes and purple shrouds in those beds. It's very eerie. And they have pictures of the actual dead people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, when it's safe to go, let's go. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
To look-
I've been. It's horrible, but it's definitely something.
When did you go? You went without me?
I did. I went with Ree.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
I'm hurt.
Sorry. There's still a little bit more.
Okay.
According to the Times, none of these Oregon residents that had joined were among those found in 1997. So Brightside, the Organians, the Organians, the orangutanians. I don't know. They ran off. Anyway,
Okay.
when the Heaven's Gate members were discovered, they were all wearing identical black and white Nike Decade sneakers, and the company soon discontinued the style due to its macabre associations. Since then, the shoes have become a collector's item because how awful, and people are obsessed. An unworn pair apparently discovered in a storage unit in Arizona is up for auction on eBay for the asking price of $6,660.
Jesus.
Bearing Applewhite's face as part of its advertising, Nike didn't exactly appreciate the free advertising.
No.
We've
Don't-
heard all the jokes, Nike rep Jim Small told Adweek in 1997. The Heaven's Gate incident was a tragedy. It had nothing to do with Nike. The surviving members agree. They say that the shoes were purchased in bulk because of their cost, not necessarily their style. One of the ways that Heaven's Gate paid the bills was with a web design group called HireSource. This website is still online.
I'm giving bug eyes.
Yes. The pair most likely behind the HireSource website are Mark and Sarah King, according to Motherboard. The information must be available to mankind in preparation for their return, the page's admins told Reddit's blog. We don't know when that will be, but those who are interested will find the information. So they still have a recruiting website up. And it is...
Don't share it.
I will share it. Well, I'm not going to share it here. But I have our friend Becky to thank for that.
Becky gave you this?
Becky gave me this because she messaged me because she knew my disdain for aliens, and she said, I found you a loophole, do Heaven's Gate. And I was like, I could kiss you, bless you, my child.
Do you remember last episode when I said, ask your friends, and you said none of my friends like aliens?
Becky doesn't like aliens either. She just knew Heaven's Gate was a loophole because they were trying to ascend to another realm where aliens. This is proof that alien believers are wackadoos.
Don't say that, because I'm an alien believer.
Wackad. You just proved my point more.
Well, that's not nice.
I bet you own Nikes.
I don't, actually.
Oh, wow. I do.
I like Nikes, but I like
Adidas. Wait, I do have a link to a YouTube video. Maybe I do have it. Hold on, let me click this.
That's something we can just put up on the Patreon that we don't want to share.
I do.
Oh, dear God.
It's an hour and a half, so that'll be on the Patreon for Patreon members. Also, my sources were obviously Wikipedia, the Heaven's Gate website itself, a history.com article called Heaven's Gate Cult Members Found Dead. Very straightforward.
Spoiler alert.
Rolling Stone feature, Heaven's Gate 20 years later, 10 things you didn't know. And I am just going to tell you that I just copy and pasted and read you a story.
Okay, that's fine.
I didn't paraphrase.
That's fine.
I'm probably going to do that a lot.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is just share time. This isn't creative writing time.
No. I might have creative wrote a little bit.
That's fine. And I might do that on some stories, but today was not that day.
That's allowed.
Yeah, but anyway, that's Heaven's Gate.
I really like that you did actually combine the cult and aliens. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, thank you. I'm clever like that.
Look me in the eyes.
What?
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so you had the lovely task of finding an alien story. Mm-hmm. And I, Tanya Lee, need I remind you, I had the task of finding a true crime story, which I was super pumped about.
It's a fun time.
And I found one that I found very interesting that I had not heard before.
Oh, fun. Look at us.
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 Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. I'm going to take a sip of my wine.
Okay.
I'm going to
wet your whistle.
I'm going to wet my whistle.
Just go ahead.
Okay. In the year 1987.
We were born.
This is the year we were born. We just exposed our age.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anyway, in the year 1987, a criminology and FBI agent named Mark Putnam, age 27, began his first investigation in Pikeville, Kentucky, as a recent graduate of the academy. Mark was married to Kathy Putnam, the daughter of a wealthy real estate developer. They had a daughter together named Danielle, and a son was later born named Mark Jr. Prior to Mark's first day of work, someone had robbed a bank in a small town called Meta. $18,000 was stolen. A woman claiming to be the robber's wife told them she suspected it was him because he came home with a large amount of money. And they asked her why she would turn him in. She said because he wouldn't share it with her.
Same.
Salty.
Shiro.
Salty. She's like, this jerk.
Well, if you would have shared it, this would have gone differently.
Then you wouldn't have gotten ratted out on. Mark was officially on the hunt to arrest a famous 32-year-old ex-convict and bank robber named Carl Edward Lockhart, a.k.a., you're going to love this.
What?
Cat eyes.
Cat eyes?
Yes, because he had sultry green eyes.
Oh.
Sexy.
Me too, Carl.
Me three.
Izzy started purring as soon as you said cat eyes, sultry green eyes. She's like, me.
Is that you?
You're not a guest on the podcast.
You look so flat. Okay, so cat eyes. He was currently living with his friends Kenneth and Susan Smith. They were a divorced couple still living together with their children. Kenneth offered to let him stay with them as he noticed Cat Eyes was living in a tent in a friend's backyard at the time. And he was like, bro.
Not as sultry anymore.
Bro, you can't live in a tent. You got to live with me and my wifey and my kids. Or my ex-wifey, I guess. All right, so let's rewind. So Susan Smith.
Yeah.
Also known as Susan Daniels Smith.
Okay.
She was born in the year 1961. No birth date found, which was very bizarre. I don't know if she knows when she was born. But she was born in 1961, the year my parents were born, in West Virginia, to Sid and Tracy Daniels. Susan was kid number 5
Yikes.
of 9 whole children.
That still doesn't stack up to my grandpa's.
Okay, this isn't
16 children out of one woman.
This isn't a competition, okay?
It is a competition. 4 sets of twins.
God, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Your genes are pretty exciting.
That's why this is sewn up. It's not happening.
No children coming out of that womb.
Business is closed.
So when Susan was a baby, her family moved to Freeburn, Kentucky.
Freebird!
From West Virginia. She inevitably dropped out of school in the 7th grade because her family couldn't afford to send her anymore. That's really sad.
That is sad.
In 1977, when Susan was only 15 years old, she met her future husband, Kenneth, who we already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
He was a local meth, PCP, and coke dealer who was 22 at the time.
Not a coke dealer.
He was a coke dealer. So, mind you.
Gotta stay away from them coke dealers.
He was 22.
Yeah.
She was 15.
I see no issue here.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll carry on. They were married.
Sarcasm.
Sarcasm. They were married 4 years later when Susan was 19. On November 27th, 1979, thanks to drug probs, Kenneth was jailed for a brief time. In the mid-1980s, Susan gave birth to 2 kids. Their relationship was toxic, as you would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Kenneth was abusive. They eventually divorced, but they kept living together with the kids in a shared home because Kenneth was still providing Susan with drugs.
Yeah, necessary.
So she didn't want to give that up. She probably also couldn't afford to live in a place on her own. Let's be real. They were very much struggling for money, as most, sadly, drug addicted people do.
Just say no, guys.
Yeah, just say no. If you are suffering from drug addiction, let me just note, you can call the drug addiction hotline, which is 844-289-0879. Please take care of yourself. We want you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was a little sidebar, but back to our story. Mark Putnam, our FBI agent.
Right.
He originally reached out to Kenneth to be an informant while he was searching for Mr. Cat Eyes, since they lived together. But Kenneth was unreliable, had too many demands.
A drug addict that's unreliable?
Yeah, and having too many demands. So local sheriff's deputy, Bert Hartfield, recommended that Putnam ask Kenneth's wife, Susan, who we just talked about. Looking to make some extra money, Susan was like, dope, I'm in. Putnam was warned, however, that she liked to run her mouth and she could be a shaky informant, but Mark moved forward with Suzanne regardless. Suzanne and Mark met in the spring of 1987 and began constant contact regarding information of Cat Eye's criminal plans. Mind you, this was Mark's first investigation.
Huh.
Mark later said the thing that attracted him to Susan was her smile.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Friends of Susan said that she had a heart as big as Kentucky. Susan's sister, Shelby Ward.
Okay, Kentucky's not that big in comparison to other states.
That's big, though.
Kentucky's not that big.
That's a big heart. Susan's sister, Shelby Ward, warned her that working with the FBI would only lead to trouble, obviously. She begged her to cut ties with Putnam. Obviously, Susan was like, nope, hard nope. Susan became friends with Kathy, if you recall, as Mark's wife.
I recall Kathy.
Kathy had a lot of empathy for Susan, and surprisingly, really related to her. Kathy had some drug problems in her past. She had an abusive husband before Mark. Susan would use this opportunity to dig and get information about Mark. Mark was a runner, so Susan started running. You catching where this is going?
I'm catching where this is going.
Mark liked to read.
Sniffing what you're putting down.
Yeah. Mark really liked to read books.
Uh-oh. So let me guess. Susan liked to read books now?
So Susan would show up to FBI meetings with a book in hand.
Uh-oh.
She would cut her hair short when Kathy cut her hair short.
Okay.
She would frequently call the house late at night asking for Mark. One Christmas, Susan brought a gift to Mark's FBI office. Running shoes and a Nike t-shirt. There's a theme here.
There's a theme. Nike sponsor us.
Oh, God, that would be great. Mark hesitantly accepted and called his superiors, who advised him to write a memo explaining the situation and put everything in a safe. They were like, what's going on with this girl? And Mark admitted that Susan had expressed interest in him, but his supervisor shrugged it off and said to keep up the good work, make sure Susan testifies against Cat Eyes at his trial. So in December of 1987...
Kathy gonna die, isn't she?
You'll see. This is interesting. This is an interesting take.
Go.
In December 1987, Cat Eyes was arrested and eventually sentenced to 57 years in a federal prison. Susan was rewarded $5,000, which in 1987 was a lot because now it's equivalent. Well, not a lot, but good enough. It's equivalent to over $11,000 nowadays.
Okay, almost got that 18.
So it's over twice as much.
Okay.
She was rewarded $5,000 for her contribution to the case.
Nice.
During this time, Putnam gained a new partner named Ronald Poole. Important character.
Ronald Poole. All right.
He's 37. Guess where he was from?
Ronald.
Yeah. Ronald Poole. Write it down.
Ronald.
How are you going to spell Poole?
With an E?
You spelled it right.
I did it.
Okay, with an E. It's going to be a quiz.
All right, that's why I wrote it down.
Oh, okay. During this time...
Guess where he's from? He's from Illinois.
Yeah, he's from Chicago.
Yeah.
He's 37 years old from Chicago. Chicago
is...
my kind of town.
Your dad just started singing with us. You know he did.
Hi, Daddy.
Shout out, Denny.
You know he started singing.
Pause for Dennis, so wherever he is, he can start singing.
I should record
Take it away, Dennis.
I should record.
Chicago is your turn. He just did it. You just didn't hear it.
I should record him and send and add it.
Yes.
Make him record himself.
Yes.
Oh, man. Okay, so Mark was hoping to pawn Susan off onto Ron, but Ron had zero interest in working with drug cases. So Poole became pretty, I don't want to say friends, but he became pretty friendly with Putnam and his family. He would come over for dinner at the Putnam house, and he became friends with Kathy. Just friends. Don't get excited.
Oh, okay.
He told Kathy that he was interested in Susan romantically.
Okay.
Which kind of would contradict working with her on a case.
Mm-hmm.
And Susan was very much not interested in him. I didn't actually write this detail down, but Ron was a heavier set gentleman.
Okay.
And he became...
More cushion for the push.
Yeah, he became friends with Kathy because Kathy was really into fitness, and she would kind of give him advice as to like how he could get in shape and all that stuff. So that's why him and Kathy were friendly.
Hey, new year.
Yeah.
New Ron.
New year, new Ron. It became obvious to Kathy that Susan was actually interested in Mark.
Oh.
Susan didn't shy away from telling Kathy that she likes to be close to Mark and made no effort to hide her affection for him.
She a hoe. There's a hoe in this house. There's a hoe in this house. There's a hoe in this house.
Oh, gosh. Wow.
I wonder if she's cooking up macaroni in a pan.
Oh, God. I hate that. You knew I hated that. Oh, gosh. So one night, Mark and Susan drove to a secluded spot so Mark could discuss the next drug case with her. Susan sensed he was struggling, so she started massaging him.
Oh, no.
Then she started kissing him.
Oh, no.
And eventually, they banged one out in his car.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Susan stopped calling Kathy, and if she would talk to Kathy, she would avoid bringing up Mark at all costs.
Can't trust a man. All the signs are there, Mark.
Yes. Like, seriously, Mark.
Seriously.
Susan told friends and family that it went on for nearly the entire 2 years he was at the Pike County Post, although Mark argues that it happened only a few times and for less than a month.
Can't trust the straights.
I don't trust him. Susan said that it was a passionate affair, with the couple meeting in hotels, cars, even Mark's home, while Mark's testimony was that he only had sexual relations with her about 5 times in his car.
Okay, Bill.
Mark tried to transfer to Miami, but Ron Poole, his old partner, said he could not handle Susan on his own and needed Mark's help, so Mark needed to come back. Mark ended up having to come back to Pikeville to tie up loose ends on a case he hadn't finished anyway. That return to Pikeville is when everything spiraled.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
All right, let's dive in. Susan told many people that she was pregnant, including Ron Poole. She allegedly called Mark before his trip back to Kentucky, and he said that they would talk then. So allegedly she told him before he flew back to Kentucky, or drove, or however he transported himself there.
Teleported.
Yeah.
It's an alien story.
Yeah. Susan was told by a doctor that her due date...
What was that? Yeah! Like...
Yeah!
Okay.
Susan was told by a doctor that her due date was November 19th, with a conception of approximately February, which confirmed to her that Mark was the father. Are you really disinterested in my story? Stop yawning.
Sorry.
While home in Pikeville, Ron thought he would help reunite Susan and Mark so they could get down to the bottom of things, aka her pregnancy, that Ron was aware of. He picked up Susan and got her a room at the Landmark Hotel. Ron did.
Okay. He's just a good guy.
He's just trying to help take care of business. On the evening of June 8th, 1989, Mark got a call from Poole, who was wondering if he had talked things over with Susan yet. It became clear to Mark that Poole's feelings for Susan had created a rift in their partnership, and Mark had to end things with Susan. Mark drove with Susan to an isolated location. She spoke to him about the pregnancy. Mark informed her he had no intention of being with her and encouraged her to have an abortion, or, get this, to even let him adopt the child so he could raise it with Kathy.
Ew!
This obviously infuriated. This obviously infuriated Susan. Susan lunged across the car, started slapping the crap out of Mark, calling Kathy a whore, and inevitably riling Mark up in the process.
I told you, there's a hole in this house.
Mark pulled the car over to the side of the road. Susan threatened to show up at his Miami home with their child, with the baby, and put the baby in his daughter Danielle's arms.
Okay.
This was a threat she made.
I'm going to put this baby safely in someone's arms.
Well, she was probably like, I'm going to show up to your house in Miami and put this baby in Danielle's arms.
Okay.
So you know how serious I am. You know, I don't know.
Ow. Owie.
You okay?
I hurt myself.
She was desperate.
Okay.
Susan was going to blow his shit up. She was going to tell Kathy everything. She was going to tell the FBI offices that Mark sleeps with his informants. So, naturally, Mark slapped her across the face.
Naturally, as you do.
Yeah. Susan kept egging Mark on by saying she owned him now.
Okay.
Susan continued calling Kathy a whore, and Mark told her that Kathy was a better mother than Susan could ever dream of being.
Okay.
This angered Susan enough, and she climbed on top of him and started beating him profusely. He took a swing at her, missed, and cracked the windshield.
Okay.
The car windshield.
It's a strong hit.
Yeah. That's a hard hit. Eventually, he grabbed her by the throat, strangling Susan in the car for a 2-minute struggle. He killed her. You following?
I can imagine after 2 minutes of strangling, that's what happens.
So he puts her in the trunk of his rental car. Actually, here's a tidbit that I don't know why I didn't include. He strangled her for a 2-minute struggle. This is all according to Mark's testimony, of course.
Right.
Mark said that after he strangled her, he let her go and he put her back in the seat, thinking that he was just roughing her up. Mm-hmm. And that her head slumped down, and he realized that he was there, now, do you get how serious I am or whatever? And she clearly was dead.
Right.
And couldn't respond to him.
Okay.
So that's an interesting tidbit.
Not quick on the draw.
Yeah, no. So he puts her body in the trunk of his rental car.
10-second mark, am I right?
Yeah, right. Where she stayed overnight. The next morning, Putnam drove to the FBI headquarters in Lexington, where he had his business to attend to.
Sorry, our other assistant is eating the main assistant's food.
Moosh, that's not for you. Moosh, no.
Moosh, you're fired.
Hey, no. So Putnam drove to the FBI headquarters the next day with Susan in his truck. And the headquarters are in Lexington, which is approximately a 2.5-hour drive.
I like to show up to the authorities with a body in my trunk, too.
So he finished his business. His
business.
He finished his business he had in Lexington. Returned back.
Fergie.
Yeah, he returned back to Pikeville. After he returned to Pikeville, he drove to an isolated spot, removed her shorts, which were his, too big for her.
Oh.
And her shirt that also belonged to him. Dumped her body into a ravine. Mark claimed later that a woman riding a horse spotted him near the ravine, so he pretended he was peeing and said something like, nature. Yeah.
Nature.
So,
Am I right?
He goes home, he cleans out the car, washes it, returns it to the rental company so that he can switch vehicles.
Right.
Told them that a coal truck had dropped coal in the windshield, which is why it was cracked. He called Susan's sister, Shelby, to see if she had heard from Susan. And that if Shelby hadn't heard from her, she should file a missing persons report.
See, again, can't trust the cops. Defund the police.
He called. He's not a cop. He's an FBI agent. It's very different.
Same.
No, it's very different.
Now? It's not that different. Can't trust those either.
Well, this guy's sus.
Sus.
He called the Pikeville police to express concern for Susan, as she was supposed to meet drug contacts up north. Lies. Clearly, he was trying to cover his bases. The police stated Susan had a habit of disappearing and it wasn't a concern. Shelby did call the police, her sister, to inform them that the last time she had spoken to her sister was on June 8th, the day that she died,
Right.
at noon, while Susan was at the Landmark Hotel. Shelby also revealed to the police that Susan was indeed pregnant with Mark's child.
Dang, blow his spot open.
Mark was confronted about this and was given Susan's missing persons report. Mark claimed that Susan had many enemies and admitted to the FBI that he had spoken to Susan about her pregnancy, but that Susan refused to tell him who the father was. So he dropped it. Since Susan was known for running off, her case sat idle. It wasn't until a year later that...
A year or 8 years?
One whole year.
1 whole year.
1 year later, that Kentucky State Police officially investigated the case as a missing person and began interviewing FBI agents.
Question.
Yes.
Was Susan white or was Susan black?
Susan was a white lady.
Oh, okay. Shocking.
Yes. But she was a drug addict, so she might have been...
Okay, so she was categorized in doesn't matter to...
100%.
The police force. Got it.
On May 16th, Mark was interviewed by both the internal investigator with the FBI and Kentucky state detectives. They noticed some statements he gave that alarmed them. Most notably, when Mark was asked about Susan's age, Mark responded by saying, she was 28. Referring to Susan in the past tense when no body had been found yet was a huge red flag, as the investigation was being conducted as a missing person case, not a murder case. They continued for 7 hours, in which Mark gave away many clues that he was guilty.
Showed your ass, Mark.
Yeah. He told them he had become upset with Susan, but he didn't hurt her, that he sliced his hand on a nail while working on his home.
What?
Yeah, like unwarranted information. He had kicked the windshield and cracked it, but didn't want the rental company to charge him, so he made up a Cole story. At this point, it was very clear
Mark's a liar.
Mark Putnam had murdered Susan Daniel Smith.
Yes.
So at this point, they asked him to take a lie detector test, which the lie detector test was going to take place in Washington. So Mark agreed and flew out the next day, which obviously Putnam miserably failed this test. He
Clearly
lied his way through it and was caught in his lies. So he calls Kathy and he tells her everything.
Everything?
He tells her everything. He even called his family, including Kathy's family, to confess to them and to apologize, knowing he was about to go to jail.
Sorry, I'm a murderer, guys.
Yeah.
Please don't put it in the family Christmas card this year.
Yeah. So after, gosh. So after Putnam broke down and confessed to the murder, he led the police to her body in order to shorten his sentence. Found at the scene were her sister's gold necklace, Susan's brightly colored fingernails. Yeah. Gross.
A year later?
But I mean, according to a report...
Man, what's that nail polish brand?
Yeah, I don't know, right? According to a report, her body had deteriorated to just a skeleton.
Yeah.
There are mixed findings as to whether or not there was a fetal skeleton discovered. I've read that there was, and I've also read that there wasn't, so I'm not sure what's actually true. But yeah.
So yeah, no confirmation that she was actually preggo.
There was. I think at one point Putnam did, there's like a story that while Putnam, when he came back to Pikeville from Miami, before he met up with Susan, he was talking to Poole. And like Susan called Poole while Putnam was standing there.
Right.
And Poole was like, oh, she's really upset. You should talk to her. And so Putnam took the phone, and while he was on the phone, and she's like yelling at him, upset about being pregnant and him not wanting to talk to her, he looked down and saw that she had maybe given Poole, or that she had dropped off a doctor's note that confirmed that she was pregnant. I thought I had that in here, but I must have deleted it for some reason. But so it was confirmed by a doctor that she was pregnant. And a lot of different people knew. But there is still speculation about it, regardless whether or not that story is true. I don't know. So Mark Putnam told the police he only choked her. However, Susan was missing 2 molars, as if she was hit in the head, which is where that story comes from of him slapping her.
Right. Dang, how hard do you have to slap somebody to knock out their molars?
Right?
Those are like the most rooted teeth in your head.
Yeah. So during his trial, Shelby Ward, reminder, Susan's sister,
right,
shows up to the courtroom with a gun in her purse.
Oh, good. Okay.
But she claims, I didn't know it was there. I didn't know I had it. Yeah, right.
She was about to full on time to kill it.
Oh, yeah.
She was about to have time to kill it.
So despite being sentenced to 16 years in prison, that's it. Yep.
Okay.
Putnam served only 10 years.
Sure.
Because due to good behavior, he was described as a model inmate.
Oh, yeah.
Putnam was released from prison in 2000 at age 41. So interestingly enough, Kathy, Mark's wife, got very close with Shelby.
Well, I'm sure they're bonding over shared horribleness.
Actually, Kathy was really supportive of Mark.
Oh.
She forgave him and stayed married to him.
She stayed married to him while he was in the pokey?
Yep.
Okay.
She was there for him. However, in 1998, while Mark was still incarcerated, Kathy died. So 2 years before he was released, she died from a heart attack and organ failure due to alcoholism.
Yeah, well, can we blame her?
She was only 38 years old, and she was found by her daughter, who was just 13 at the time. Yeah. After his release in 2000, like I said, he moved to Georgia. He remarried. He's now working as a personal trainer. He still visits with Kathy's family. He's super well liked in his community. He's very open about the case and seems to be truly sorry for what happened. Susan is the first known victim of murder perpetrated by an agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Huh. Really? 1987?
She's the first victim of an FBI agent.
That's crazy.
There was a movie adaptation of the book Above Suspicion, written by Joe Sharkey about all this.
Okay.
The movie was released in 2019.
On Lifetime Television for Women?
I don't know. Oh. But it was starring Emilia Clarke as Susan and Jack Huston as Mark Putnam.
Wait, hold on. Emilia Clarke?
Yeah. And guess
Diane
what?
Aries? What?
Mark was a consultant on the film.
No! That's so messed up.
Isn't that crazy?
No, I hate that.
Isn't that nuts?
No, actually, that's not how I strangled her. What?
Yes.
No,
yes.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
That was my favorite piece of information I found out about this whole story, so I saved it for last.
I hate that.
So yeah, that's the story of the loss of Susan Daniel Smith.
I'm trying to find out where it aired. Wow. We got to put the Above Suspicion trailer on old Patreon, but you can also look it up.
But yeah, you can also YouTube that.
That's wow, it and 86% of Google users like this.
So my sources were Wikipedia. Hey.
Naturally.
A TV Crime Sky article written by Tracy Curry Reyes. A Reddit post by user KittyCat40.
Get it, Kitty Cat.
In the True Crime Forum. I listened to an episode of a podcast called Beyond Contempt.
Okay.
It was episode 10.
Dang.
That's a doozy. Oh man.
So we've learned about castration. We've learned about Nikes. A lot about Nikes.
Yeah.
Just do it. Or don't. Maybe that's why they picked Nikes.
Yeah, well, now I'm sad. So do you want to tell me something wonderful?
Sure.
Go ahead.
My something wonderful is also a plug for something else that isn't sponsoring us that could.
Oh, well, let's have it.
But right before we started to record today, I got I signed up for my free subscription for 1 year to the Premium Calm app. For those of you who don't know what this app is, it is a lifesaver, at least for me, hopefully for some of you. It'd be really cool if we were in the position to give out codes, but we're not. Maybe one day they'll sponsor us. I would love that. But the Calm app is basically, it's meditations. It walks you through panic attacks. They have like a panic SOS that helps you with breathing to calm you down. It's sleep stories. They have master classes in stress and anxiety. It's basically anything you can think of that plagues your mind. It helps you overcome that. And when I tell you I am an insomniac, I mean that to the deepest sense. I could, for nights on end, just lay in bed and be fully awake all night and still expect to be functioning the next day.
This is true.
And the Calm app truly saves my life in these times.
Yeah.
I can do the meditations and it calms my brain. I can do a sleep story and that puts me to sleep. It's just a really, really great tool. It unfortunately can be pretty expensive. It's almost $70 for the year, which I know not a lot of people have the funds for. I know I didn't, and there's no shame in that. But if you have an Amex card, you can get a year for free and then your second year half off, which is a huge deal. So I signed up for my free year after I already signed up for my 4 months free.
And just to reiterate, this is not an ad.
This is not an ad. This is not an ad. This is just me saying I used this app 5 years ago when my dad passed away.
Yeah. Because
I wasn't sleeping at all, as you would guess. And it helped me to get at least some sleep at night, unplagued. And I used it during quarantine to deal with the old Rona. And it's a really, really, really helpful tool. So what's your wonderful?
Oh, gosh. So I found this really cool book.
It is a really cool book. It's the most unique book I think I've ever seen.
Truly. I'm holding it in my hands as we talk. It's really, really perfect for spoopy season.
Definitely.
It's called Rest in Peace, Little Monster by a man named Trenton Jones.
You forgot it. No, that's not the title. It's Rest in Peace, Little Monster. For tomorrow, we've scores to maim.
Yes. That's true. And it's a really cute book. It's like a children's book for adults.
Yeah.
And there's these really amazing illustrations in it.
Does it glow in the dark?
It glows in the dark, which is really cool. So you can look at it with like a flashlight in your room in the middle of the night. And it's basically like cute little stories about different kinds of monsters and cryptids and ghosties. And like, for example, here's one. Rest in peace, little chupacabra. For tomorrow, we play our own game of chicken.
Not the chupacabra.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
And I think, didn't you read like he hand burnt these pages? And
yes. Yeah, I think it's in one bookstore.
Is it only in Los Angeles?
You can buy it online. It's at you can go to restinpeacelittlemonster.com and find it. It's really, really, really cool. I'll put a link to it on our social media because I want to support this book. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's a really great artistic achievement, in my opinion.
It's super unique.
And it's great for October. It's great gifts. It's not very cheap, but the reason why it's not inexpensive is that it is handmade. And they're like all numbered, so they're all individual. So my number is number 24. So I have the 24th version of this book.
Very cool.
Really, really cool.
Maybe one day we can get him on the pod.
Oh my God, that'd be so cool.
That'd be so cool.
I'm sure he has some cool little monster stories. But anyway, that's my little wonderful thing that I discovered that I really love.
That is wonderful. Books are wonderful.
And it's on our bookshelf now on display for spoopy season.
Sharing is caring.
It is. So thank you for listening, first off.
Thank you,
kindly. We really appreciate us. We really appreciate us. We really appreciate you.
She's doing great.
Yeah, I'm doing great, sweetie. So if you want to find us on social media, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're at How Awful Podcast. That's our handle. Our handle is How Awful Podcast. Forgot what it was called.
You're really nailing this.
You can also search for us on YouTube. We haven't been able to create that handle yet, but eventually we will. But we are on YouTube at How Awful Podcast. You can subscribe there. You can also find our Patreon, which, by the way, we're like 2 pledges away from meeting our monthly budget. So if you do really like what you hear, we would love to keep doing this for you without paying money out of our pockets for it.
Yeah, we're kind of poor.
Yeah, so if you like what you hear and you want some more fun surprises, you can pledge at patreon.com/howawfulpodcast. We would super appreciate it, and we just want this to be a community, so however we can engage more, that's a good vessel for that.
Right now, the Patreon's mostly just blog posts, but eventually we do want to start making video content, whether that's reading a story that you guys have requested or that you guys have sent in. We also we have more ideas. We want to do ghost hunting. We want to do a whole bunch of different stuff, and that's all going to go up on the Patreon. So you're definitely going to want to subscribe for future content because I think that's going to be a really awesome place. And speaking of future content...
It's also going to cost us money to do these things.
It is
going to
cost us money. Why. Exactly. We want to be able to produce this content for you guys, but we need money.
We need help.
Yes. So pledge. Anyway, going forward, I would like to try something since we have a few hundred listeners now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if anybody has seen the A&E series I Survived, but I'm so fascinated by it.
Yes.
It's survivor tales, these horrible things that you just cannot fathom somebody surviving, but they do. And this is where I want to hear from you. So I want you to email us at howawfulpodcast@gmail.com. And if you have survived something insane, whether it be a near-death experience, a paranormal experience, a cult, an alien invasion, whatever. Anything. Sky's the limit. If you have survived something awful, keep it short, keep it simple, but send us a little, maybe, 2-3 paragraph blurb about what you survived, and we will read it on our show.
Yeah.
And if it gets to be a bunch of submissions, then it will be a Patreon video tier where we read a bunch of I've survived submissions. Maybe even eventually we'll have people on who have survived crazy situations to tell their own stories. But that's howawfulpodcast@gmail.com. Send in your I survived stories. The crazier, the better.
Yeah, we would love to hear your guys' story as we have shared some of ours, which we will definitely be sharing more in the future. Special announcement.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have our first guest.
We are going to have our first guest. We're going to do a special Halloween episode that will be released on October 31st.
Yep.
With our dear friend, Joseph, who will be joining us to talk about his paranormal experiences. Yeah. I had a paranormal experience at his apartment that I will share with him. I don't know if he knows. He
knows all about what happened to me at the apartment, which I know that I left people on edge by...
Especially Dennis, my dad.
Yes, I left people on edge by hinting at the fact that I was tormented at our Chicago apartment. I will tell this story on the Halloween episode with Joseph's help because he was the one I would late night text message, help me, basically.
Yeah, so tune in, subscribe, review us. Yes. Please let us know what you think. That's going to help us immensely.
Yeah.
We can't wait to tell you more stories, more personal stories as well. Let's draw for next week. We didn't do that yet.
The suspense of this one piece of paper that I know what it is.
Okay.
What could this be? Oh my goodness. Could it be ghosties? Oh, well, it's ghosties.
So next episode,
paranormal.
B is going to talk about paranormal.
Finally, my favorite.
And I, Tanya Lee, will be telling you a story involving lore.
You know what is really annoying? Is that this is the last thing I picked, and it is the thing I like the most. And it is so taken to week 7 for me to be able to do this.
Yes. It's going to be great.
It's going to be a good time, guys.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. We've been the How Awful Podcast. I am Tanya Lee.
I'm B.
Thanks for listening.
And Izzy is fired.
Izzy. Actually, you've been a really good girl today.
Actually, and you're not fired.
You're an angel.
But you're on probation.
Yeah, good girl.
How awful. As always, we've been B and Tanya Lee. Our logo was created by MJ Savard, and our theme music courtesy of Nikki Lou.